Lenkai stood atop the familiar hill, gazing across the endless plains of the savanna. It was the same land he had known his entire life, where every blade of grass, every whisper of wind told stories of his people, the Maasai. He had grown up amidst the rhythm of life here, tending cattle, herding them through the dry seasons, preparing for manhood as a warrior. But now as he looked out, he felt a pull that went beyond the horizon. It was a vision of something more, a call to explore beyond the world he knew. The idea had come to him gradually, a seed planted through stories from travelers passing through the village and tales of the cities far beyond the plains. The world was changing, and Lenkai, with his sharp mind and restless spirit, felt a growing need to be part of that change. While the others saw the land as their legacy, Lenkai began to see a future where he could bring back something even more valuable: knowledge. One evening, as the village gathered beneath the acacia trees, Lenkai stood up. His voice trembled slightly but was firm. "I want to go beyond our lands to the city to learn. I want to understand the world outside so that I can return and help our people." The elders fell silent. His father, Maasai, a seasoned warrior and a respected figure among the Maasai, frowned deeply. "Our strength comes from our land, our cattle. What you are speaking of, Lenkai, is a path far from the traditions of our people." "I know," Lenkai replied carefully, "but the world is changing, Father. The rains do not come as they once did. Our cattle struggle more each year. If I can learn from the world beyond, I can help protect what is ours. I will not forget who I am or where I come from." The elders murmured among themselves, debating. Some were skeptical. What did the city have to offer a Maasai warrior? But others, those who had seen the subtle shifts in the weather and the growing challenges of their pastoral life, saw the wisdom in Lenkai's words. After what felt like hours, Maasai finally spoke, his deep voice commanding the attention of all. "Go, Lenkai, but remember, whatever you find out there, your heart belongs here." Lenkai bowed his head in gratitude. His journey had begun. Nairobi, the bustling capital city of Kenya, was a world away from the open spaces of Lenkai's homeland. The noise, the lights, the sheer number of people, it all overwhelmed him at first. He felt like a stranger, lost amidst the towering buildings and the endless rush of activity. But Lenkai was determined. He had come here for a reason, and he would not be deterred. With the help of a few contacts, he enrolled in a local college. His days were now filled with lessons on science, technology, and the economy. The transition was not easy. There were times when he felt homesick, longing for the quiet of the savanna, for the simplicity of tending cattle. Yet as he learned more, he began to see the importance of what he was doing. One lesson in particular opened his eyes. His professor was talking about climate change and its impact on agriculture. Lenkai realized then that the challenges his people faced, the erratic rains, the drying rivers, were part of a larger global problem. If the Maasai were to survive in this changing world, they needed new strategies. They needed someone who could bridge the ancient wisdom of their traditions with the modern knowledge of the world. As the months passed, Lenkai's focus sharpened. He began studying sustainable farming techniques, irrigation systems that could help during droughts, and economic strategies that could provide alternative sources of income. But he never forgot his roots. Every decision he made, every lesson he learned, was with the Maasai in mind. After years of study, Lenkai stood on the edge of the city, ready to return to his people. He had grown in ways he never imagined, but as the bus carried him back toward the village, his heart raced with anticipation. What would they think? Would they accept the ideas he had brought back? The village had changed since he had left. The cattle herds had thinned, and the land seemed drier, more parched. The elders greeted him warmly, but there was an underlying tension. The rains had been poor, and they were struggling. Lenkai called a meeting under the acacia tree, just as he had done years before. He stood before his people, now no longer the uncertain boy who had asked for their blessing, but a man with a vision. "Our way of life is strong," he began, "but the world around us is changing. We can no longer rely on the rains as we once did, but there are ways we can adapt, ways that will allow us to continue living as Maasai while embracing what the world has to offer." He spoke of sustainable grazing, of irrigation systems that could be built to store water for the dry season. He explained how they could use modern technology to track their cattle's health, and even introduced the idea of ecotourism, a way to generate income by allowing outsiders to experience the Maasai way of life without compromising their traditions. At first, there was resistance. The Maasai are proud people, deeply connected to their land and their ways. Some feared that these new ideas would erode their identity, but Lenkai persisted. He demonstrated the benefits, showing them how small changes could make a big difference. Slowly, minds began to change. The village elders, including his father, began to see the potential in what Lenkai was offering. He was not asking them to abandon their ways, but to adapt, to evolve in the face of a changing world. In the years that followed, Lenkai's vision became a reality. The village thrived, not just because of the cattle that had sustained them for generations, but because they had embraced new ideas without losing their identity. Lenkai helped introduce water-saving techniques that allowed the village to survive even in the driest seasons. They began to diversify their economy, growing small crops and welcoming visitors who marveled at their culture and resilience. Lenkai himself became a respected leader, not only among his own people but in neighboring communities as well. His journey from the plains of the Maasai to the streets of Nairobi and back had been one of strength and transformation. He had shown that success did not mean leaving behind who you are, but rather finding new ways to carry your identity forward. As he stood once more on the hill, watching the sun set over the savanna, Lenkai felt a deep sense of peace. He had followed the call beyond the horizon, and it had brought him back home, stronger, wiser, and ready for the future. Thank you for following along with Lenkai's journey. If you enjoyed this story and want to explore more tales of resilience, tradition, and transformation, don't forget to subscribe to the Journey Within TV show for more inspiring content. Be sure to like, share, and to spread the word to others who appreciate the beauty of blending cultures and personal growth. Stay tuned for more captivating stories.